Hello and welcome to Won't Be Forgetting That, a podcast talking about all of the most awkward and embarrassing moments people have had whilst working in the arts and entertainment industry. I'm your podcast host, Seb Muirhead, and today we have a couple of guests. Our first guest is an actor, a comedian, a director, Jimmy Eaton.
Thank you so much for having me, Seb. It's a pleasure.
Quite all right. But we also have a second guest. They are an actor, an author, a presenter, Maddy Tyers.
Oh, hello, Seb.
And we were mentioning just before the podcast started, we do have a
Third?
2.5? Yeah, 2.5 guests. Yeah. Winnie, who's currently on the bottle just now.
Massive alcoholic.
Baby, yes. Sorry. Milk bottle. Unless you have started her very young as well. No judgment here. I mean, judgment, but not to your faces. So if we do hear any gurgling, well, more gurgling than usual in the podcast, it's probably Winnie.
Why.
There's a tiny baby.
There's a tiny little adorable baby. Second podcast baby as well. Sebi bet you out first off. Lisa
damn it.
and Jay Morrissey. I know, I'm
Yes.
sorry.
I was vying for that.
But we'll see if Winnie's as chatty as Sebi as well. So usually I like to start the podcast off with a bit of a compliment for my guests because I get people on who I'm massive fans of their work and super talented people, and I get them to exclusively talk about the worst points in their career, which is not the representation that I want for my guests. And I also don't want people to think that I'm just getting people on to make them seem like they're worse than they are. But you guys are like insanely talented for one, but do so many different goddamn things as well. I'm finding it really hard to nail down one thing. Probably going to have to go with the most consistent thing you're pumping out just now is your sketches, both together and individually on Instagram and presumably other platforms, which I don't have. But fuck, they're funny. And also
thank you.
Incredibly high production value as well.
Look, massive,
is that all you, Jimmy, is it?
editor, nerd.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that going to Edith Cowan Film School actually, I put my HEX debt.
Yes.
It's worth it. I get to actually use them in my sketches.
That's perfect.
I do put Maddy in them because she's very talented, but also the algorithm just smashes right up every time Maddy's in the videos. And when I'm just by myself, just crickets. But, she's also very funny, and I'm not just exploiting my wife.
Yes, sorry, we did have to say that beforehand as well, didn't we? That was a legal obligation that we had to say.
We do exploit our child. Please. If there's any sponsors listening.
Oh, look, Huggies.
Huggies.
I don't know any other brands for babies, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
No, it's funny you say that, Seb. I mean, like, we've obviously got like a little 7-month-old here with us. But I feel like we've been more productive creatively since having her than before. And I think the reason being is we just don't have time. So the minute she has a nap, we're like, quick, get out the camera, film something.
Rather than before you're like, I'll do this later.
Got time?
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, there's none of that anymore, is there, Jimmy? I mean, we've got very small gaps of window time to shoot sketches.
Yeah, no time for, Xboxes and smoking bongs. It's parenting, work, and sketch making.
Exactly.
Perfect. So like all the boring parts of being a stoner without being a stoner.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Without the drugs, there's suddenly so much productivity. It's great.
Oh, well, anyone that's listening that does want to sponsor this podcast that does grow marijuana as well, please ignore Jimmy.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's a booming industry. Come on.
I know. And we're like decades away probably here from it being legalized, so crossing my fingers. Come on, Australia. Pick it up. So I know we're both coming with pre-arranged stories that we have as well. I usually have my go-to kind of questions, I suppose, for people as well.
Right.
Now, one of my things that I love to go to as well, which I'm sure all the beautiful perverts that listen every week are probably tired of me asking.
Hello,
but
beautiful perverts.
yes, thank you.
and ugly perverts too.
And the ones in the middle, just the fine perverts.
Just the bland beige pervert as well. I mean, all perverts are welcome.
Yes, thank you. And that's actively from Jimmy as well, so please message him all of your perverted things
Can't
afterwards.
wait to look at my DMs after this goes.
Please do not message Maddy, just Jimmy. If you want me...
We've got a story about that.
Ooh, very nice. All right, well, I'll ask this question first, and then maybe we can start off with that one.
Right.
So I was going to ask about auditioning because that seems to be the main source of my embarrassment. Because, like, for the most part, it's kind of what we do as well. Like, we're always auditioning, and then you're lucky to get a few days on set here and there. The TV commercial auditions are always the ones I like to ask about as well, because they are, I think we were even just talking about this before the podcast started as well. They're just cooked. I hate them so much. I think a lot of the time, they're just people trying to embarrass out-of-work actors. But they pay so well.
They
so
do.
have
Oh
to
my
do
God.
them.
People are like, oh, why don't you just do films? Because they don't pay anything. And an ad can set you up for like 3 years if you get a good one.
Yeah, and it keeps rolling over, and then they keep banging you up for other things. They throw it over to America or Britain or something like that, and you're laughing.
Redub your voice in Italian.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's my dream.
Well, when we did Lego, this is a side jump.
Yes,
When we
please.
did Lego Masters season 1, Maddie and I, apparently we were shown in Italy, and they overdubbed our voices with hilarious Italian voices.
And German as well.
And German.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I can't find them anywhere.
Oh, no way.
But yeah. But so with the auditions for ads.
Oh, I mean, we do. Look, and I can't complain because, like Jimmy said, I mean, they do pay the bills. So we love them.
Yep.
But I don't know about you, but I've found that they've gotten increasingly more complex in terms of what's required. Like there'll be 7 scenes and one's like jump out of an aeroplane and then roll. I mean, you'd probably be fit for that being a stunty, but
Pay me for it.
What?
Auditions are free though. Like they expect you to do all this stuff for free.
Like be in a pool.
Yeah.
Climb up a mountain.
Yes.
Go get a real one if you can.
Yeah.
You know?
I had 2 auditions last week and this week for TV commercials, both of them exactly like that.
Yeah.
One's like, can you film you showing around the interior of an actual car? And I was like,
I didn't. That
did you then? Yeah. I was like, no, you can have
Now I know you're going for it. I've got no hope.
Oh, please, Jimmy, you got the charm. I just have, if they want to hit me with the car, I'd be probably more suited for it.
Bless.
But I didn't. Did you do it in the car?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you've got a leg up on me
There's
then.
actors who don't have cars.
Well, mine's parked out in the street. So it's just like truck route where I live as well. So it'd just be trucks flying by all the time.
You're on a
like,
busy street.
A real busy street, yeah.
My favourite is when they give you the brief of who they're looking for, and I always get not handsome, but not ugly, bland man. Not classically good looking. I'm like, geez, thanks for casting me for that.
It's sometimes they just put those things in there and you're like, if you just set this up for me to fail, like this is like, you don't have, you can just
so shit for the ego.
Or you can keep that part as casting agents. You can keep that part, or
Don't
the
take
agents.
either.
Yeah, just say man.
So true.
Man in 30s. That's fine.
It's funny you say that.
Yeah.
I had a very recently, actually last week, a audition for actually not just one. I had 4 callbacks, right?
What?
For a TV set for an undisclosed glasses brand.
Oh
I'd
yes,
say.
you can put 2 and 2 together. I'm sure.
Heck bravers.
Oh, perfect.
So
should have gone to.
callbacks, which to be fair, like by the time you get to that point, like
Yep.
I got to the point where I was putting on the glasses, right?
Yep.
So I'm like, oh man, I've got this in the bag, surely.
Were you doing this in person as well in the room with it?
person
Yeah,
in
nice.
the room. So I'd done like a series of auditions. One which Jimmy filmed me. I had to. It was almost quite stunty. I had to like jump over things and.
Oh, really?
You were good.
Yeah, because it's like an
Wow.
action sort of sequence. I was like, great, did that. Then we did the callback in person. Then we had they had this like glasses moment where I had to go try on the glasses, and it was like again classic ego boosting moment where they had about 15 clients in the room, and they were passing me glasses and trying them on, and like when they do that thing where it's almost like you're not there but they're talking about you. And so I'd put glasses on and they're like, oh, they look terrible. I put on another pair. Oh no, her face doesn't suit those. And I'm just standing there going, okay, yeah, my face is not working for this. And then sure enough, I got home that afternoon sort of semi thinking, well, I still must have it, surely.
Well, like roughly.
And
did you say 4 callbacks as well?
4
That's
insane.
insane.
And then got a call in the afternoon saying we've gone with another direction. Which I
Hello,
went-
is this fat face? Yeah, we don't.
I was like, fuck, man, that is
Brutal.
clearly my glasses face is not what they wanted.
They don't deserve it, I think
They
you'll find.
don't deserve it, is what I have to say.
Exactly.
But then sometimes it can go the other way.
Yeah.
Like I had to go and do an audition where they made me hold a tomato.
Okay.
Just hold a tomato and look at it and go, where do these come from? And I did it about 24 times.
Wow.
I did a self-test.
Yeah.
Then they went, okay, we like you, and we brought you in and brought me in. And I held this tomato and they looked at me and they just kept kind of shaking their heads and going, oh, I don't know. And I walked out thinking I absolutely shat the bed.
Yeah, right.
I just did a big tomato on the floor, and I got it. Like, you just never know. Like, I walked out going, well, I fucked that one.
Yeah.
And then got a call, and I'm now a professional tomato toucher.
Oh.
On the television.
Is that on the CV,
It's
is
on
it?
the CV.
Yeah, beautiful. Love that.
Yep, top tier tomato toucher.
Oh, we should have put that in the intro.
Can we start again?
I'll edit it in post, don't worry. But yeah, that kind of stuff. I mean, firstly, with the tomato one, I'm like, what are you actually looking for a lot of the time as well? Because I don't think they know. And I think sometimes if you just turn up and actually do it, they're like, yeah, that's it. And a lot of other people are self-conscious and just being like, oh, I'm like, what is this? I don't really know what to do. But then also, I mean, for people that don't know or that aren't in the industry as well, you get paid for callbacks in Australia. Yeah. So you got paid roughly 4 times for the 4 callbacks.
Oh, sweet.
Which is great. Yeah,
yes,
that's almost a full day on an ABC show. But like, they've just wasted all that money just to, I mean,
such a process, right?
Bully you in person.
Yeah,
for lack of a better word.
I know. I'm like, if that doesn't give you a thick skin, I mean, this whole industry, right? And I'm sure we'll get into some more interesting stories that give us the thick skin.
Yes.
But you've got to walk away and just laugh, I suppose. Otherwise, you will cry miserably.
That is, I think, why I made this podcast. I say this every now and again. This is just therapy, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, that'll be $210.
Yeah.
Wait, from me or am I?
No, we're paying you.
No,
We're paying you.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes, finally. Actually make some money in this goddamn industry.
Yes.
But also, like, the clients talking about you, I've had that before as well for, well, let's say a well-known underwear brand, which may or may not be the same name as a British Spy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love it.
I did a TV commercial for them and got dressed on set. Like, I'd actually booked the gig, got dressed on set, popped into this little room because we were shooting in an actual house. 8 people in there going, okay, whispering to each other, but in a tiny room. It's not whispering; they're just talking to each other. They're
Stage whispering.
Yeah, is the t-shirt meant to look like that on them? Yeah, and I'm like,
No, Seb.
cool guys, like I can leave the room if you want, or you can just look at it on the monitors.
We're whispering.
Yeah.
You can't hear us.
Also, actors can't hear.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they have no emotions.
Yes.
You're meant to show all of your emotions on camera, but off camera, dead inside.
And were they okay once you got on set, though? Like,
They were fine. So it's just like, I think it's sometimes as well. And look, if this brand wants to keep hiring me, please do. Like, I had a wonderful time.
Of course.
It was just a weird experience, that tiny little bit. There were some dogs on set. I got to pat some dogs. So I loved it.
Swings and roundabouts, my love.
Exactly.
Dogs and balls.
Dogs' balls.
Set, yeah.
I didn't check the dogs for balls.
Yeah.
But I think that's frowned upon in the industry. But I don't know.
Can I ask a question?
Yes,
about that?
please.
Because look, I don't want to bring it up again, but I was on a tomato ad.
Yes.
And
oh, sorry, no, humble brag warning. Humble brag.
it wasn't for tomatoes. There were tomatoes in it, and I was in the kitchen holding the tomato, and there were just a cast of thousands because it was for a very big supermarket brand.
Oh, okay.
And people were like modeling and positioning tomatoes and putting pins in tomatoes so that they're all in the right position.
Oh.
For your underwear ad, did you have people who were making sure
putting pins
in your crotch?
Is that do they put socks in there? Is that a real thing?
I requested it on the day. They vehemently denied or did not want anything to do with it. But I only wore it was for a pregnancy thing that they were doing.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah, thank you. Which was again another very awkward thing. There was a lady 8 months pregnant, real baby inside, and I just have to listen to her belly for like 3 hours straight. Just had my face up to her belly. But I was wearing their like what are they called? Like their basic wear. So it was just like a pair of
shorts or whatever. Yeah.
Which they didn't let me keep. I'm a little bit upset by.
Yeah,
right. And I was.
You've had your naked body on it.
I know, right? That's what I thought. And then I, put the costume on, but they didn't even check what underwear I was wearing, which I think in hindsight is probably for the best.
Love that.
But
it's so funny. I mean, at the end of the day, like Jimmy said, they pay nicely, so we'll keep on doing them.
Yeah.
But
touch my fruit as much as you like.
Yes.
For a price.
I swear to God, we'll get into these stories, but on a very slight tangent of what you were asking, I did do one shoot once where I was in a white Speedo for the entire shoot.
Hello.
For the Olivia Newton-John biopic or biopic. Yeah, I can't quite remember how you
You're the one that I want or something?
Yeah. And we fully reshot Let's Get Physical music video. So we spent like a whole day reshooting it shot for shot.
So you're in the reproduction of the
Yeah. So I was one of the
physical men?
Yes, the physical men.
Yeah.
But that was a little bit more lack of a better way of putting it, hands-on, where people were like, they weren't touching your crotch, obviously. I want to say that on record, they were not. But like they'd have to come up and like arrange where the line was, and like baby oiling you as well.
Hello.
Day.
Oh wow!
Yeah, then they couldn't get baby oil on the underwear as well, so they had to like tuck in little cloths around the speedos.
It's amazing the behind the scenes.
It's a fucking weird job.
No, I was going to say there's nothing like a set, like a production design to really take the sexy out of a lot of things.
Oh, you get. I don't know if you two have ever had that as well before, but people like, you ever like had to make love on camera or like pretend to?
Yeah.
Well, we do have a baby, so I can show that we have made love in real life. We haven't made love on
Evidence is
camera.
here.
Exactly.
But yeah, like those are some of the least sexy scenes you'll ever do.
Oh god, yeah, absolutely.
The poor cameraman's just standing there, like just obviously trying to get focus and not make eye contact with you, and everything's awkward. And
those really sexy, like beige coloured, like swimsuits.
Yep.
Oh, hello.
The nude coloured undies, and you're like, wow. Again,
So good.
Yeah, not my favourite thing in the world, but I'm very open for being hired. So please, if you want me to be at something,
we're all up
to
for
do
it,
that,
guys. Let's be real.
simply call in. But we'll get into the stories now. Now we did say
Pervs.
yeah. Do we want to
let's do
start with that one?
Absolutely.
Do we? Yeah.
Why not? I mean, it is a bit of a combined story, so why not?
Oh.
So, well,
Was this you two messaging each other? Because I'm going to veto that if that is the case.
Well, that's not what this podcast is about.
Look,
How we met?
that's the sister podcast. Yes.
Well, like we said, we were on a very family-friendly show. We were in the premiere season.
Yep. For Lego Masters as well.
Masters
Yeah.
Australia. They'd had Lego Masters UK, but it was a very different show. It was sort of this very like Great British Bake Off vibe in the way that it was shot and the sets and everything. But Lego Masters Australia was the first of the syndicate shows to set it like that, and then US copied and Germany and so on and so forth.
Yep.
But it's a family show. However,
but when like going into the whole story of how we got onto it as well, like Jimmy and I, don't get me wrong, we're big nerds and we love Lego, we love toys.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Again, are you legally obliged to say that?
Well, interestingly, I mean, we love Lego and we built stuff out of Lego, right, Jimmy? But we weren't like Lego experts at all. Like, so we'd never really built anything on our own. Like, it was always like, buy the castle and build it with
use the instructions.
So it's like called scratch building when you build
they're called MOCs.
MOCs,
which stands for my own creation.
My own creation. So we'd never done any of that. But when they'd started auditioning for this thing, and quite a few of our friends have sent us the link to this open audition. Kind of, and when we first saw it, we thought it was a bit of a joke, really. We're like, oh, like there's MasterChef, there's British, but surely this can't be a thing. It was a thing, and auditioned. And look, again, I think being the first series, I think if we had have been on maybe series 2, 3, 4 onward, we would have absolutely sucked and gone out straight away. But being the first premiere,
some of the people on the show, if you're listening, you are brilliant.
They're all
Lego
amazing.
gods.
Yeah,
we are big. Well, we built everything we built, but we would not stand up against the competition.
We were definitely frauds, and I mean to the point where shooting the show, we'd go home of an evening and Google how to do stuff.
Wow.
Because we were like, how do you make a sphere?
That sounds intense.
Oh, mate. We were learning on the fly and it was an experience. So, but look, it was a very family-friendly show, wasn't it,
Jimmy? And you'd think they'd just be family-friendly viewers, wouldn't you?
Well, I mean, yes, but I also have some friends that are into Lego and all the power to them.
Yeah.
But they are absolute weirdos as well.
Yeah. I think like any big subculture, it takes all sorts because Lego, there's highly religious Lego groups that recreate like Bible stories, and there's all sorts. And apparently there is
also a subculture of Lego fans who started messaging us. We got a number of messages said when the show aired. So Jimmy and I were kind of the quirky married couple.
Yeah.
Kind of our vibe. And, we'd wear bright coloured clothes, like we were a bit kind of out there, a bit kooky. But we kind of started getting Instagram messages from people asking if we were swingers.
The first one was, hey, my wife and I were watching Lego Masters and we thought, I reckon they're swingers.
Yeah.
Are you swingers? We were like, oh, are you asking if you want to swing? Is this a weird kind of like just sense checking with us?
Just that real like soft fingers out there.
Soft touch, right? And then it kind of kept going. Like the weeks would kind of roll on and the episodes would roll on, and at least sort of once a week we'd get kind of a cheeky like, oh, you guys, have an open marriage, and
wow,
which I found really interesting.
And I also got a picture of something that rhymes with mock.
Yeah.
Oh. Was that a real one or a Lego one?
I did though. I did. Yeah, that was right. I got a very unsolicited old dick pic from a very interesting, creepy.
It wasn't a brick pic. It was
man.
a dick pic.
Yeah, okay.
And it was definitely,
and you were like, gross. And I'm like, that's the last time I sent you a dick pic. No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Sure thing.
Yeah.
But that was kind of an eye opener. I was like, oh, Lego Masters, not so PG-13 as we originally thought.
Well, actually, it says for ages 3 to 99. So
I mean.
So wait, was this dick pic from somebody older than 99? Because otherwise, I think that's legal.
It's hard to tell. I think it's like a tree. You have to cut it in half and count how many rings there are. Don't do that.
Definitely don't.
I find that always amazing as well because, there's a lot of people that watch shows or even listen to podcasts and stuff like that, and especially reality TV shows where they get to see you being you, or listening to podcasts where people are just chatting, where they kind of they build a relationship with you. But you don't know they exist as well.
Yes.
But they know a little bit of your quirks and stuff like that. And they've seen how you two obviously interact together. So they're like, oh, I feel really comfortable with these guys. Like, I'll shoot them a message. But then, you guys don't know they're there.
Whoa, that's a thing. I mean,
we were pretty open to just people in public. Like, we did a few, shopping mall.
Yeah, of course.
Things like that. And I think, we're both actors and we've come from, backgrounds where we're really able to talk to people.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, when it was kids and families, it was just lovely.
Yeah.
But we did a few adults-only nights at Lego stores.
It sounds weird saying adults only.
No, I want to hear more about that.
Actually,
take out your bricks, remove your pants. It's adults-only Lego night.
It's all just chest harnesses that are made out of Lego. Love that.
Studded.
To the next level. But they were odd too, weren't they? I mean, like you said, it's a different breed.
A diverse clientele for Lego.
Oh man,
I think
exactly.
Yep. But I'm always amazed by people that really just shoot out any message to, strangers.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of the day, they might think they know you, obviously, because they've watched you a lot, but you're strangers to them.
Yeah.
And then, there's swingers clubs. I'm sure there's online stuff. Lots of other ways to meet people.
Yeah.
But you're like, I've seen you on telly. I reckon you're swingers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can make lots of interesting things out of Lego, surely.
Yeah. And if there are swingers listening, please swing away. I think
Absolutely.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
If an orgy is your playground, please play away.
Exactly.
But it's not so much for me.
We're more the brick pit. I was going to say the brick pit, but I don't know whether
that sounds like a swingers club, I'll be honest with you.
The more I'm talking about this, I'm like, I don't
like a play, but not like a swinger.
But the more I talk about this, I'm like, no wonder people thought we were swingers. It sounds very sus.
Yeah, we were really leading.
Yeah.
Maybe they were just looking for some nice fetish gear that you can make out of Lego.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think it's your imagination is your only limitation with Lego.
They just couldn't find any mocks online of them.
Yeah.
There's some pretty spiky edges, and they're quite. I don't know, a sex toy, and it could break in. Yeah,
that's the scary part. Yeah. Unless you don't have to give too much behind the scenes. Do you glue them together as well after you've made them?
No.
Okay, cool.
No.
Cool.
Nothing in our house stays solid for long. Oh wait, that sounded sexual again.
God, what have we done?
Oh, wonder,
people kept.
I've already made a baby. I'm done.
That one time was enough. Too much.
God.
Yeah. But very funny stories. And for anyone listening as well, we do joke when I say message the guests, but please don't send strangers weird anonymous stuff like that. If they're your friends and your actual friends, go crazy.
Right.
But please do not message strangers weird things, and especially dick pics.
Yeah.
I feel like that should go without saying, honestly, but
I mean, I'm going to come out and say it. My dick it looks like a dick, but it's dicks
well, that's a good start.
Dicks aren't that sexy. Like taking a photo of a dick and sending it to someone, that's probably my ugliest appendage. Yeah. It's a normal dick. Like, it's not a weird, it doesn't have like a little.
We're doing some damage control now.
But it's just a dick. It's like, it's down there, it gets sweaty, it's just, hasn't seen much sunlight.
It's not flattering.
What? Yeah.
But it's been on Lego Masters.
Yeah, true.
So,
well, technically my dick has been on Lego Masters, but it wasn't on
get
show.
a clean clip of that, yes.
It was covered by clothing.
Yeah, I'm going to edit that part out now. So yeah,
good, excellent.
I am in control of this. So we'll move on from Dicks on Lego Masters.
Yeah.
Did we come in with any particular groupings of stories that we wanted to tell as well? I don't know whether that was maybe one of our most salacious ones, but I do like to leave the most salacious story till the end.
Yeah.
So people keep listening as well. Did you have? I know you said you had stories together and separately.
Yeah.
Was that our only together story as well? Did you have some more togethers?
You wanted to say your.
I think so. Well, look, I sort of come from like a stand-up comedy background and an acting background. Yep. And I mean, like in terms of awkward stories, the first one that springs to mind is, being a stand-up comedian, for all the stand-up comedians that have been on here.
Oh, plenty of them,
It's a tough job. I mean, there's like a lot of variables.
Yep.
Like you can have the best set ever, but there's so many like variables when you're performing that even the best set can go awry.
If you've got a real cooked crowd, it doesn't matter how good you are sometimes.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. You tell us, Winnie.
Yeah, but there's one of the crowd members just now, yeah.
I remember once I did a gig with a comedian called Simon Taylor who set up the gig, and it was in a really cool kind of bar down on King Street in the city. It wasn't a strip club.
No. Sorry, just King Street in general. Yeah. I wasn't expecting it to be...
Well, there are a lot of strip clubs down there.
Yeah.
I asked my wife, I've never been to one. I actually haven't in
That's
Melbourne.
The acting coming into play right there. Yep, perfect.
But this was just a normal gig, and I didn't know much about it. We just were going in there. It was sort of a private function, and this is where it went shit even before the gig started. Oh, no. So we were ready. We had our sets. We were both established comedians. We knew how to work rooms. We knew that they're all kind of standing, so do certain material that's going to grab their attention. And we get on stage, and before we got on stage, this guy gets up and goes, "All right, ladies and gentlemen, now I know we're here for some funny buggers. I know we're here to have some laughs. Who's ready? Woo! All right, we're going to see some comedy. All right, I'm excited too. But before we start, let's just remember why we're here. Exactly a year from today, little Chelsea died of cancer. So let's just have a minute's silence for little Chelsea." Room is totally quiet. And then it's like, all right, let's bring on the comedy.
Jesus Christ.
It was just like, you usually have a warm-up comedian or an MC that comes on to warm up.
That was your warm-up comedian right there.
It was like the opposite. It was like a freeze down. It was so tough and
awful.
But as he said that, suddenly the parents were in the audience and people started crying and someone hugged, and then I just come on stage. I'm like,
oh my God.
Hey, imagine if Yoda could beatbox. I think it'd go a little something like this. Bum bum trippa bum. And just see people with tears in their eyes and people looking at me and I could, you're up on stage and you can see all the silhouettes and you can see heads shaking and people shrugging, going, I don't know.
But my comedy's made people cry before, but not like this.
Not like this.
But I've done a bunch of gigs like that. I think there's always those private ones. I think when you do a club, it's usually pretty good. The people are there to see comedy. Usually a child hasn't died.
I'd say more often than not, a child hasn't died. Yeah. But also, did you not get given any sort of heads up to what this was?
Not a thing.
Wow,
not a thing.
That's awful.
And I got to go first too. So I was just the sacrificial lamb that the Lions just cried on.
Yeah.
And then Simon got to go on and I'd finally worked them back to kind of a normality, forgotten about this child. Well, I'm sure I hadn't forgotten. Forget the child. Chelsea is no more. But I kind of got him back to a good place, and then I'm like, there you go, Simon. And Simon got to go on and just have a great gig.
Oh, so Simon had a great time.
Yeah.
You were just thrown under the bus.
I absorbed the trauma. So that was.
I'm sure of everyone in there, you had the worst night as well.
Yeah.
But that's brutal. I mean, first off, Now, I think that friend of the show as well, Cameron James, told a very similar story as well.
I love Cameron James. He's
yes,
hilarious.
Where he did one for the Black Dog National Institute, where he had to follow somebody that did a 5-minute slideshow of their brother that had killed themselves. So, yeah, unfortunately,
at least I didn't have a slideshow.
Yeah, right.
Jesus.
And that was less than a year old as well. So. It was brutal. So, unfortunately, I don't know why this is now the second similar story we've had like this.
I just think about, like interesting choice of people like setting up these events going, what tone are we going to go with for the, memorial of a dead child? Let's do comedy.
I can understand maybe from people that aren't like in the industry or something like that. They're like, what do people need? They need to laugh. Laughter's the best medicine.
Yeah.
But have a 10-minute drink break or something like that.
Yes.
The bar's open, guys.
It's insane. I think, I could be totally getting this wrong, but a friend of mine, Xavier Michaelides, who's a hilarious comedian, I'm pretty sure it was Xavier who had to do a corporate gig for like plumbers or something who just got let go. Like they just all lost their job.
Oh my
And they're
God.
like, all right, boys, well, we're not going to leave you totally, in the lurch. Here's a bit of bloody comedy. And had to deal with people who were like, what the fuck? Like,
So did they just? I know. Sorry, this isn't your story as well. But did they just get told that they'd all been let go?
Yeah.
What?
But just like people just go, oh yeah, we'll just distract him with some poor comedian.
Oh, God.
We'll make him the focus of their view.
How long was your set as well?
My set?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like 15, 20 minutes.
Which is a decent sized set.
Yeah.
Regardless, but when you're dying a million deaths on stage, which probably isn't the best phrasing in that respect, but like that is a lifetime to be doing.
Yeah,
stand up to
it. Kind of feeds like it's like you really, well, for me anyway, I really want to be present and in the moment and like, oh, this is great, I've got them. I'm really aware. Back when I used to do stand up a lot, I'd be really aware of what the crowd was doing and ad lib and improv in between the stand up that I do. I'd have bits, but I'm an improviser as well,
of course.
But when you know that that's just been said and that's in your mind, it's so hard to then be present,
break out of that.
And I think it feeds on itself. So I go, oh no, they're hating me. And then they're probably looking at me going, oh, he looks really uncomfortable.
Yes,
so we're going to become more uncomfortable and I become more uncomfortable and so on and so forth.
So it's just this vicious cycle. Did you do any crowd work that night as well?
Yeah, I was like, so where's Chelsea's mum? I've got him. No, but luckily I've got a few like really loud bits, songs
good.
And things like that are just really good for clearing the air.
At least with a song, you can push through it, and you've got a set like 3 minutes that you can fill.
Yeah, exactly. Distraction.
That used to be what I did when I first started comedy. Is when I sucked, I'd just make as much noise as I can in the set, so I couldn't hear the silence.
So any starting out comedians listening as well, just be as loud and as brash as you can.
Just create a Phil Spector wall of sound.
Yeah, exactly. Then you don't know if you suck or not.
It reminds me actually, Jimmy, it's sort of a slight segue and it's a you story, but I was in the audience for Jimmy for this one. So there was a while there quite a few years ago where Jimmy was doing quite a lot of stand-up on cruise ships, like comedy boats.
We've had a few stories from the cruise ships.
We love a cruise ship.
Well.
And again, similar in that like the people that are on the ship haven't necessarily paid to see a comedy show. I mean, they're on this cruise. So, but Jimmy's part of the entertainment.
Yep.
And I remember one night it was quite a rough night at sea, and so you're kind of like wonky donkey on stage, like literally
like
trying to
side
stay
to
still.
side.
7 meters swell.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
it was
huge.
But it was like all inclusive family, kids, the whole lot. And there's on those cruise ships they often have those like buffet. Dinners where you help yourself. Kids are running around with food everywhere. Yeah. But I remember just sitting in the audience. Poor Jimmy is just trying his best up there to a crowd of people that are all talking, doing their own thing, and like a bunch of kids just roll in. But a bunch of kids roll in and they've clearly come from the buffet. And they've just bought into the auditorium like these taco shell bowls. But not filled with taco, filled with gravy. And so there's just gravy running down these kids' arms, running down the aisle of this comedy show. And Jimmy's up on stage, like literally swaying. And I had one of those moments of like, where the fuck are we? Like, what I mean,
Look what you married.
That sounds almost surrealist. I mean, like that's almost performance art.
It was very. You couldn't write that.
I quite love that. I mean, it would suck to perform it in the moment, and then obviously watching your partner on stage having to. I mean, first of all, not fall over, but then also
Jimmy.
like put up with
after that,
gravy children.
Like, I don't know if I want to do these.
Well, you just reminded me of because I do those cruise ships I've started doing them for a while, and yeah, they're tough. Like if you have a bad gig, you're stuck on the boat.
And you get to see them for weeks afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
I luckily, I didn't do too badly, but I remember we had a night where we did 2 shows back to back.
Oh, wow.
And so they were like, the manager was like, doesn't matter, just do the same set. We've got 2 different audiences. So you just come out, you go bang, do your set, and then show finishes half an hour, and then they let the other people in and you do another show.
Did they have 2 audiences, can I ask?
Well, this is the thing, because I did the first show and I, did well, got laughs. It felt like a really good show. So, like, some of their theatres are great. It was in the main theatre. It was full of people. It felt awesome. And then the second show, I come out and start performing. And after the first joke, this guy just goes, "We heard that one already." I'm like, what? And through the whole set, he just kept going, "Yeah, we heard that. You did that one before." And it was like, oh, man. So I quickly, changed my material. But it was like a fairly long set. And there's only so much material that works in those sort of rooms.
Of course.
Yeah, man. It was not long after that I was like, I only perform on dry land.
Solid ground.
Yeah.
That's
and no gravy boats.
Gravy-free performances. For anyone listening as well that is going to go and see Jimmy in the future as well, leave your taco bowl gravy things at home.
Yeah.
Or at least offer.
Yeah.
Bring
one for the performer.
Bring one for the performer.
That's like the classic thing on cruise ships, which I haven't heard of back to back before. So that's almost impressive.
Yeah.
But yeah, people are like, "I loved you last night. We're going to come and see you again tonight." And you're like, "Yeah, it's the same show." Like, do you think I have 30 different shows?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, what? You don't just make stuff up from the day and tell us things that you've just observed?
What do you mean you write it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's that stuff. But the back to back one is particularly bad. Yeah. Also, you can just shut up if you're in the crowd. You don't have to
leave it.
Exactly. You don't have to talk to the performer. Actually, I actively encourage it. Just shut up.
Just let them do their thing.
We're helping.
Yeah.
Not really.
Oh, I've seen it on TikTok and they destroy hecklers and
Yeah, they love it.
Yeah. So, anyone going to see you guys in the future, shut up.
Yeah.
Don't even laugh.
Exactly.
Completely silent, please.
Well, I have another food story, but did you?
Oh, please.
Yeah, I mean, we've got plenty of these. So it's funny, they sort of start rolling in as you tell them.
That happens. I just said that before the podcast as well. The floodgates open. All these repressed memories.
Do look. I've got one from, many, many years ago doing some amateur theatre. This is teenage Maddy, getting into sort of more film and TV stuff. But I was doing a local production of Annie. I mean, hello.
Classic.
And we were having a ball. I was one of the orphans. I was Duffy, the eldest orphan. I think I was maybe 14 at the time.
Does Duffy have a particular line?
Look, she did. Can I remember it? No. But
Annie, you bitch.
Annie, you bitch.
That sounds about right for Annie.
Family audience love that.
In an Australian accent. But no, we were doing maybe 4 shows a week for maybe a month. It was decent for an amateur.
For Amdram, yeah.
Yeah, and we were I feel like it was not opening night, but we were a couple in, still quite fresh.
Yep.
And obviously we all had the mics on and we had a relatively large crowd this particular night.
People love all.
And this wasn't me
who doesn't, honestly,
that did this, but there was one of the cast members had a bunch of friends in the audience that night.
Okay.
And one of them, I think one of her friends had brought her boyfriend along.
Oh.
Anyway, this performer was in the wings at the time and had forgot to turn her mic off and proceeded to sort of talk about this boyfriend to
oh my God.
another actor in the wings.
So this is just pumping out over the PA system.
Pumping out over the PA system. I'm 14, so I'm thinking this is hilarious.
I'm 35 and I'm thinking this is hilarious.
Who cares?
I should write it into the show.
Yes.
Anyway, she proceeded to just say how much this new boyfriend looked like a ball sack. And it was the funniest thing because you could just see everyone the stage managers just just
Kill
absolutely
it.
giving
Kill
the
that mic.
the kill the
What was the
mic.
guy on the sound desk doing? Was he out having a joint
I
or
think
something?
he was probably. He was probably 14 too.
I was gonna say.
This is amateur theatre.
This is awesome.
Wow, you guys had a sound desk?
Right, exactly. But yeah, I from that moment, I've always been so hyper paranoid of mics, just generally.
Yes.
Like even on stage,
Yeah.
I'm like, don't say anything wrong.
Or you do like a little sort of like, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh God, did they hear that?
Seriously. So yeah, forever in my memory that
Do you have a
one.
recording of it?
Oh man, I wish. I mean, that probably
love
worth
that,
a bit of
Annie.
money
It's
now.
a hard not life. Oh my God, he's such a bullsack.
And they all knew who we were talking about as well. Can I ask, you don't have to answer, did he look like a ball sack?
Oh look, I can't even remember, Seb,
Okay.
but I feel like I trusted this older actor. I thought
Yeah,
that
right.
I looked up to them, so I'm going to say yes.
Maddie,
That is very unfortunate. for
Maddie,
that
I know
person.
we've been married for almost 10 years. Was it someone you were going out with? Was it you talking about a ball sack? Because that you seem to have a type, and I don't have any hair on my head, and I do look a little bit like a ball sack.
Damn it, I've given it away.
Is
guys.
instead of like I'm looking for a trust fund guy with blue eyes, you're looking for a blue-eyed ball sack?
Yeah,
Right?
definitely.
Ball sack guy?
Looking for a
5'10",
guy that's a ball sack.
5'10", it has no money.
I'm getting too real.
Present.
Yes.
Exactly.
The scary things with mics as well, because in theatre, obviously, they should be cut as soon as you walk off stage, even if the guy on sound is half paying attention. But like in TV and film, you're always mic'd up.
Yeah.
On, that's so
And
true.
you need to make sure you're not bad mouthing the director or any of your other castmates or accidentally going to the toilet without telling anyone because you're just trying to slip away without like announcing that you're going to go
Or
and destroy
totally,
a bathroom.
Totally was it the Jinx that
Oh, yes, yes,
documentary?
yes.
Oh, yeah.
And like admit to murdering multiple people in the bathroom. I mean,
Ooh.
it's an open
If I had
slab.
$1 for every time I admitted to a murder while I was mic'd up.
Don't, Jimmy, that's our last story. Just save it.
These mics are on. Oh no!
No, it's good. Keep going. I'm just going to cut that part out.
Why are you
and-
on the phone?
Hello, FBI. What do you mean you don't take random calls from Australia? But yeah, like, I mean, aside from admitting to murder, obviously, I don't want anyone to hear me going to the bathroom.
Oh, no thanks.
Or even just like, you sit off to the side sometimes and you're
Yeah.
just making weird little body noises.
It's so true. I mean,
Yeah.
and the catering at lunch at on those film sets. I mean, there's gonna be some sounds. There are
God.
gonna be some sounds.
And look, unless you're working on a production for like 10 months at a time, you're eating as much as you physically can at lunchtime.
Absolutely.
You're making the most. I want to eat so much I don't need to eat dinner.
Exactly. We
So-
are actors, guys.
Yeah, right.
That's exactly right.
Genuinely starving actors. So I'm going to eat an uncomfortable amount.
And the food on set is so good.
Oh my God, yes. That is, I don't know about you two. That is how I judge a set mostly nowadays, is
100%.
whether or not, or like, sorry, who's catering for a start. Shout out to Stars Catering. I think by far my favourite in Melbourne.
Delicious.
Yeah. But it's also like how good the catering is and then what's at Crafty as well. So I'm like, what's Craft Services
What are
got
those
for me?
snacks? Give me some snacks.
Worked in a TV show 2 years ago now. They had a full-time toasty truck there.
Oh my God! what?
Not
Are
as
you
part of catering, completely different toasty truck. They'd have a rotating like different toasty each
Yeah.
day, but then 4 set toasties.
Holy
That is
shit!
And they
I
had-
would work on that set for free.
For free.
Yeah, again,
Yeah.
please pay performers. But yes,
That is so true. I mean, and then you work, what, a 16-hour day, and you're like, I'm fine. I've got an extra cheese toasty. That's
yeah, I
absolutely
know,
fine.
right? You're like,
That's
yeah, I hate my
amazing.
life, but I do enjoy cheese toasties. And they had full-time baristas as well. They had 2 full-time baristas.
Yeah, that's always a win
Yeah.
too, when they've got a proper coffee machine, proper
Yes,
barista.
yeah.
The last couple of shoots I've done have had full-time baristas
Yeah.
and all the milks and
Yeah.
the food is like better than restaurant quality.
Which actually,
That's it, right?
Yeah.
I was going to say speaking of food, that's probably a nice segue into your other story.
Well, I've got a couple more stories. How are we going with time? Because I've got one that's probably like I don't want to talk it up, but it's probably a big one to finish on.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's leave that. We've got time for a couple more stories.
Yeah.
We can finish on that one if you want.
I had I was doing a sketch show once, and this was pretty awkward in that I was doing a sketch show with a very good friend of mine called Jason Geary, who's on Thank God You're Here.
Oh,
He's one of
fantastic.
the ensemble on that. And we were doing a two-hander, and the show was going really well. It was getting really good buzz, and we had someone from head of Channel 7 comedy coming in
shit.
to watch us.
Wow.
And that night, but also we were giving away, because you want to paper the room when
Yes.
someone fancies coming in. So we gave a whole bunch of tickets away to couchsurfers.com.
Wow,
because
that's
I had
a real gamble.
That's very random.
I thought you were going to say your friends. I was like, that makes sense.
I had a mate who was like, a bit of a wheeler and dealer, and he had all these hookups with couch surfers. So whenever I needed a room papered, I'd go, hey man, like give away 20 tickets or 30 tickets or whatever. And so the room was full, but I couch surfers obviously is, it's you can book a couch anywhere in the world and people can register their couches and have people travel. And so.
And this isn't like a euphemism for like a nice bed or something. It's a genuine couch.
It's a genuine couch. Yeah. But, there's different cultures, different customs.
Yep.
And so. Not everybody adheres to the customs of a comedy room.
Yep.
And these people came in, so the show had started, we were going well, we're like, oh, this is it, we're going to get our own sitcom on Channel 7. These people come in with plastic bags, sit in the front row, because no one wants to sit in the front row.
Of course,
so it was left free. And they come in and they sit down and it's like, and we're like, just keep going through the sketch, keep going, and then suddenly you hear that, those takeaway, they have for Chinese takeaway, and they've got a very distinct sound when they clack open. They're like,
oh, like the plastic containers.
Yeah. Oh. So it's like, and then suddenly, and as soon as that thing cracks open, this aroma of like ginger and delicious chili and chicken and Thai herbs just starts to permeate through the whole room.
A sweaty, like comedy theatre room.
Oh. Yeah. It was the top of the Imperial Hotel before it was renovated.
Before it was nice.
Before it's this lovely rooftop.
Yeah.
It didn't have air conditioning. The room runner was wonderful. They worked with what they had, but it started to just waft through the whole room. And I don't know, like visual distractions are one thing, sound is one thing. You can it's pretty annoying, but smell is just such a strong distraction to the senses.
Especially when it's
pungent.
So pungent, yes. It's an affront to your smell or your senses, and you're like, I don't really know where this is coming from a lot of the time as well. Is this part of the show?
Oh, exactly. Exactly, yes. Is this 4D?
Yeah.
But not only distracting for you, but for like the audience.
Everyone, because people start going, oh, bloody hell, I didn't have any dinner. That smells great.
Or it's like, is there a kitchen in here? Can I order this as well? Yeah.
But these people, they were opening this, like, we couldn't see. We could just hear like, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's the sound of
smell.
That's how smelly it was. It actually emitted sound.
And then suddenly, like, they're getting it out and they're getting like little bowls and like forking it out to each other and like
proper picnic.
They started to put like rice in the bowl and then like pouring their curry or whatever it was.
Oh my God!
We're right in the middle of so it's this sort of like long form sketch and this. All these different sketches that sort of link into each other at the end, and this is brilliant, award-winning. If I don't say so myself,
award-winning dinner theatre.
We were doing a sketch called Bowie and Kane, like time detectives or something, where David Bowie and Michael Caine were like detectives and traveling through time and solving crimes. And all like we were like, Jason was sort of like, all right, Bowie, we've got to go. And I'm like, we can't do this. We've got to. But then suddenly we just turned, and the only thing we could do was in character go, I'm sorry, I'm just really distracted, Michael. I can smell an aromatic flavour. So can I, David. I don't know what's happening. And then we just turn and go, what the fuck's happening? And they're like, oh, we're just eating. And we're like, oh, what are you eating? Chili chicken? We're like, who the fuck brings chili chicken to a show? And people started laughing and it was fine. But like, who the fuck eats in a show? Like I saw a musical the other day and I was right up the back. It was a friend's musical. It was really good. It was Kinky Boots.
Oh, wonderful.
It's really good.
Yeah.
But a woman next to me started eating fish and chips, like up the back.
What has happened?
Like, you can have a Malteser. That's fine. Like,
Maltesers, yes.
Hot
crisps.
dinner.
No, maybe not. Any hot, pungent, aromatic foods.
And like it just pisses you off because you're like, that's annoying me. That's really distracting.
Yeah.
Also, now I'm really hungry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of the time at theatres, you're not allowed to bring food into them as well. So, like, this
So
person
true.
smuggled in some fish and chips. Like,
Yeah.
that's not like a crime of passion.
Yeah.
That's like a prearranged crime.
I mean, forget screaming babies in theatres.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about fish and chips and chili
Yeah.
chicken.
Oh.
But it's so funny. I reckon it's people that probably haven't had much experience in the theatre who are like, oh, a little bit like TV. They're clearly behind a screen and can't tell.
Yeah, just
And
have our dinner.
Yeah.
Needless to say, we didn't get the Channel 7 comedy show. They did, and that's how MasterChef That's also on Channel 10, isn't it? Yeah.
I was going to say MasterChef is just people bringing in takeaway, is it?
Yeah.
That's how
I'm
they
not
kept
too
the
up to
show.
date
They
on
got it. They got it.
Yeah,
There's Channel
perfect.
10 executives in the audience as well.
That's always like amazed me. First off, is the lack of etiquette's kind of forgivable. Maybe if it's a cultural thing, like I get it. It's a very different thing. But bringing in hot food into theatre is punishable offence.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Like that should be up there with people that sit on their phones all the way throughout movies and cinemas.
Yeah.
With the brightness turned all the way up.
Yeah.
Or people that, like, again, like you were saying, Maddie, like in live performances, people can hear you.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sometimes they can see you. Like the first couple of rows, sometimes are quite well like illuminated, depending on what the theatre venue is. I was doing this one show in South Bank Theatre once, and it was like a show about working in hospitality and like the bad parts of it mostly. But then
So
I
all
was
of
most
most of it.
all of it. But I was pretending to make love to this lady on a desk.
Yeah.
And then that part was over. And then it was, I think that was right before the intermission. And then the music cuts and it fades to black. And all I can hear from the audience is one woman going, "I saw that man's bum." I was like,
In a Bonds commercial. But now I've seen it in real life.
I tracked him down. But I was like, I guess you can. Like, I know obviously it was out, but I never really thought about it before.
That was the main attraction,
Yeah.
Seb. And she
And
came
it
back multiple
sold out
times. Yeah.
Every night after that, whatever gets people in to see live theatre.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, like it's those little comments which you're like, and it's, you don't know when all the lighting and sound cues are going to change. So sometimes people are talking quite loudly and then it cuts completely and they're like, "This is shit."
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, had that.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But,
The hecklers, hey?
and it's not even like heckling. It's just, I think it's just ignorance a lot of the time. Yeah.
Side comments.
So yeah, again, if you're seeing live stuff, just shut up and don't bring hot foods.
Please don't.
Cold foods.
Please don't.
Okay.
Just arrive a bit early, have some food.
Exactly.
Or go to a plethora of restaurants around you. And look, maybe there's one theatre restaurant left in Melbourne now.
Yeah. If that.
Witches.
And
Which is in
Witch's Cauldron?
Bridges.
Witches
Which
and
is in
Bridges?
Bridges. Yeah. I believe just round from North Melbourne.
North Melbourne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I've still never been.
Go to that.
No, me neither, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think that's for the best,
Yeah.
to be honest with you.
I'm interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One day. Kinnick's birthday, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Because there used to be
Ooh.
Draculas. That's
Yeah,
gone now.
yeah, there did. I used to work at I don't mention the name because there is still one operating in the Gold Coast, but I used to work at a dinner theatre restaurant which is vampire themed. So
Definitely not that one.
yeah, no, not that. And probably another vampire.
Yeah.
So I used to work in that.
Nosferatu's.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was.
Nosferatu's Charco Bowl.
Yeah, filled with gravy. It's
Oh,
actually our bestseller.
tastes like blood.
But yeah, like that, there's so much food around that it's not a distracting smell. It's just everywhere. And you're also expecting it because you're sitting at tables to eat.
And they're eating dinner.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you have a table and like you're meant to eat there.
Yeah. It's part of the process.
Yeah, don't bring food into live performances unless you really dislike that person and you're trying to ruin their chances of getting a sketch show on Channel 7 and you actually want that sketch show on
Look,
Channel
I'm
7.
pretty sure I ruined my own chance.
Maybe we can finish up as well with that one sort of teased story
well,
that
I
we've
think
had.
this isn't like I think food and elephant periods have really been a
common theme.
A common theme.
Oh.
And yeah, this was back when I was doing a show in Perth at a theatre called the Blue Room, and it was one of those sort of absurdist shows where the characters, there's only two characters and they're on set the whole time. Like it's just a whole show. And it's interesting because, you know, you were talking about someone saying, "Oh, that's so shit."
Yeah.
It was one of the performances, which was a very small theatre and we were sort of in oblivion and we didn't know why we were there. It was it was just ripping off Waiting for Godot.
I was about to ask, was it Waiting for Godot?
It was Waiting for Gondo. Like it was
Waiting for
total,
Gondor.
Yeah, Gondor. Oh, yeah. I'd watch that.
Me too, honestly.
Yeah.
I've seen Waiting for Godot and I would watch almost anything apart from that again, to be honest with you.
But so we were stuck in the theatre, and one of the performances, there was a guy with his phone on and his face was lit up.
Oh.
He was like, "This is fucking shit. This is so shit." That was one of the performances. And I was like a metre away going, "I hate you." But this was another performance, and I had a whole bunch of friends in the audience. It was a big night. I think it was a Saturday night.
Yep.
And it was in Northbridge in Perth. And there is an international food hall in Northbridge. It's like...
So what cuisines did they bring in that night?
Spicy chicken.
Well, yeah, it wasn't spicy chili chicken. You walk down James Street in Northbridge, you turn left and you go into the International Food Hall, and suddenly you can go anywhere in the world. You can buy any cuisine. You can buy sushi or gelati or Indian. But I chose that night laksa because I was a young actor and I thought, you know what would be great before an hour-long show is a big bowl of hot, soupy,
milky soup.
Spicy.
coconut milky, spicy laksa with suspect seafood.
Oh, perfect.
From a market in it, and I slurped that up.
So roughly a kilogram worth of like water weight as well.
Yeah. A couple of liters.
Yeah.
And I souped that hot lava down, and I was like, yeah, man, I'm ready to do this. I've got the adrenaline happening, and also that fight or flight, parasympathetic, sympathetic nervous system. When you get the nerves of a big show, I think, going back to caveman times, it makes, I don't know why, but the body goes, oh, there's a saber-toothed tiger. Shit yourself.
You need to be as light as possible.
So, like, with the caveman just running away while shit was pouring out of it, and then the saber-tooth slipping over. It's like kind of Mario Kart stuff.
Yeah, exactly, right?
But I'd had the hot soupy laksa, and me and my friend Sean, who played the other character, we started the show. And
did Sean have a laksa as well? Can I ask?
No, Sean is Sean's
smart.
Like to call not an idiot. And so we're sitting there, and it starts, and we're back to back, and there's all mist, and the stage looked really cool. Like it just looked like it went on forever, but it was actually quite small.
Yeah,
it was like before the volume stage in Docklands.
Oh yes.
Painted really well. And we were sitting there, and the show started, and it was going great, and like people were giving the nods, and this acting's so good, and we were destined for greatness. And then the show probably hit around like the 40-minute mark.
Okay, and we're talking like a 55-minute show?
Yeah, I reckon 55 to 60 minutes of just us on a floor in purgatory or somewhere. We might have died, we might not have. It's very like...
Is one of us lost the show?
Yeah, we're sort of like, and the dialogue's sort of like... When? What? Before? Because? What? Why? It's that sort of like...
I can imagine exactly what this kind of show is.
Us kind of talking and giving these lines, but there was a lot of like pausing, and especially towards the end. But then suddenly we are in this hour-long scene, around 40 minutes, and my stomach just starts to go... and it's quiet, so you can hear it, and it goes... And everyone, but no one seems to notice except for
people are looking around for the third character. Like, where's this person coming from?
Yeah. There's a lion in this show. And then we're acting, and I'm like, okay, it's fine. And then suddenly, you just sort of feel that weight in your gut start to shift down towards your bowels.
Yeah.
And it just, the pressure starts to build, and suddenly it becomes heavy. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm gonna shit myself.
Yeah.
And like a side note, I think I love performing. Yes. I don't do a lot of live performing anymore, but I think my greatest fear is, like a lot of people's greatest fear is public speaking.
Yeah.
It makes them want to shit themselves.
Yeah.
It's public speaking. But my worst fear is shitting myself whilst public speaking. Like shitting on stage is my greatest fear because
this is insane. Genuinely, I don't know if you've listened to any of the episodes about this, but this is like my very first ever story on the very first episode of this podcast was me almost shitting my pants during an audition.
Oh, my brother.
Ever since then, my magnum opus, the reason I do this podcast is to find someone that has shit themselves or shit their pants live on stage, at work, in a costume fitting anything. So I am like genuinely, like listeners, I am like
edge of your seat.
I am so engaged just now.
Well, yeah, so it's my greatest fear is shitting myself, and thank you so much for seeing my vulnerability by showing your vulnerabiliity.
Yeah, no, it's
as men, we've opened up. Hopefully
really
not
is a
our
therapy
anuses.
session.
It's 2024. We have to share this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, just talking about it, not the actual fecal matter.
Yeah.
But like, it is genuinely one of my biggest fears as well.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because you're like,
because you can be the greatest actor ever, nicest guy ever.
yeah, you can be Brad Pitt, but if you shit yourself once.
Shoot yourself, you're always going to be known. Probably not to your face, but as like Sebi Shit Pants or Jimmy Poopy Boy Eaton. Because everyone's like, oh yeah, he's a great actor, but do you know what?
Do you know Jimmy Eaton? No, it's that guy that shit his pants. Oh yes,
It's great.
Yeah.
I have a friend that pissed himself. I can't say who it was.
Okay.
But during the Lion King the musical, pissed himself in a costume.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And those are like, they're tight costumes.
Yeah,
Like, you're not hiding that.
Hakuna Makaka. Well, it was we.
Hey.
Can you feel the urine tonight?
But I can see it.
Yeah. But that's a whole other story.
Yes.
But so it's like my gut's starting to go. I'm like, oh my God.
So we've got 15, 20-ish minutes before you can exit
maybe
stage.
15 minutes. I'm like, oh my God. And there's like
Did Sean know? It's like, is he...
I start like suddenly I'm like, oh, and I can feel it moving fast. You can just kind of feel, sometimes you're like, you play that game, or you should never play this game. But like you're like, is it a fart or is it something else?
Yeah.
Like you can feel the fart.
It's such a fun game.
It's a risky game.
My
when it pays the right way, God, it's rewarding. But like it's coming through. Like, I'm like, oh my God, and suddenly I feel it's starting to come. Like you can just feel this something.
Yes.
It's like aliens. Like it's coming. It's like you
on the radar.
On the radar, I'm like, oh my God. And suddenly this scene that's supposed to be like have a lot of pathos and like, pauses in between. Every time I say my line, I'm like, blah. And then Sean says his line and there's supposed to be a pause. So he's like, you came. Yes, I did. So I'm just like banging, like throwing lines at him, like bang, bang, bang. We have to go, like throwing. And then suddenly like I just see his eyes go from like in the moment to, what like I can see him behind his eyes going, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why are you going so fast? Like, what are you doing? I'm like, just throwing lines. But while I'm doing this, I just feel my little butt cheeks. It's just calming. And then suddenly, like, my butt cheeks are like vibrating. And I can feel them kind of going, and they're like, they're kind of going into convulsions.
It's like the heart rate monitor.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, and like just coming closer. I'm like, and like it's getting to the point. It's like, and then it just goes, and it's just a tiny little fart. There must have been enough air in like, oh my God, there's still like, there is a truckload of doom coming behind it, but it gave me enough to like lock back in, like close the vault. We were like bang, 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 bang. Show ends. We have a curtain call. Yep. I don't bow. I just go straight. And that's the other thing. It's one of those like black box theaters where the way out is behind the audience.
So
I'm like, Sean bows. I'm like, I'm fucking out of here.
Shoulder barging the audience out of the way.
To the toilet. There's like a guy walking, trying to get to the toilet. I'm like, get out of the fucking way. Bang. Lock. It's just chocolate rain. Just absolute like tsunami. But I got there in the end, so I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
Oh,
I was on the edge of my seat for that entire story. I have to say,
seriously.
But I am not unhappy that you didn't shit your pants during live performance.
To introduce me differently at the top. Of the show.
I would have had to bring you back on for a full episode. We would have ended the podcast episode 75 or whatever it would have been. It would have just been that story.
The best thing was though that my friend Sam was sitting in the audience. I'm sorry, baby. I made my child cry from a shit story. My friend Sam, I came out afterwards and I was like, oh, dude, I'm so sorry. He's like, what are you talking about? Your acting was amazing. You were so in it. Like, I was just feeling for you. Like something was driving you differently tonight.
That's Meisner technique. Like, genuinely, that's what they use.
The
like,
Shizer technique.
Yeah. The laxer technique.
So every single night after that, you went and got the same laxer?
Yeah. There you go.
Perfect.
That's the key. Like, the key to brilliant acting.
Yeah. It's the Luxor.
That's right, Winnie.
The Luxor method.
Yeah.
You should start selling that. Yeah. Honestly, I've heard worse methods, so you'd be...
Well, everyone's on Ozempic these days in the acting world, so just drink Luxor all the time and you'll lose weight that way.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then you can get through a 55-minute show in 36 minutes.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to sit there for long, so it's perfect.
Yeah, it's just like Netflix. You can fast forward.
It's on 2 times speed. That was, I mean, fantastic story. Again, and with all these stories, I'm so sorry you all had to go through them.
Oh,
but I'm fucking love that.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exactly. It makes us stronger. Right?
And again, you have to laugh at them. Otherwise, either A, you quit the industry, or B, just like have complete emotional breakdowns. Like you have to laugh at those stories.
Totally.
And from doing this podcast for, what is it, 75 episodes, whatever it is now, every single, thank you. Every single performer has them as well. No matter what area you're in, not even performers, like behind the scenes, like makeup artists, costumers.
Of course.
Everybody's had it. So, like, it sucks. Don't get in the arts and entertainment industry, I think, is the takeaway from this podcast.
Stay away.
Yeah.
I love it.
And leave all the jobs for us. No. But thank you both, or sorry, I should say all three, for coming on as well.
Thank you, Sam.
We got any final words as well?
She's trying to lick
the mic.
That's so good. I can't.
There you go.
Oh, it's because you didn't get to lick the mic.
It's actors. It's so unfair.
I know. Sorry, you've got a lot more years of this as well. But yes, thank you both for coming on. Where can people find you if you've got anything coming up as well? I mean, obviously we've got all of the socials, so yeah, let's do you have some joint stuff first and then maybe the individuals?
You can find me on Instagram at Maddy Tyers. You can also find I've written a kids book that is available on my website as well, maddytyers.com. And I've also just started making a few silly little sketches videos on TikTok because future Maddy. Under Melb Mama Maddy, because being a parent is chaos, I'm realizing. So that's been quite fun.
Well,
and then you, Jimmy?
I am making sketches all the time. You can watch them through Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. And, this comes out tomorrow. So probably by the time I'll be in a movie, I'm sure I'll get called tonight. And,
so you're going to be in Planet of the Apes 12 or whatever they're shooting here next?
Yeah. 12. They're still monkeys. Still aping around.
I'll cut that part where you called them monkeys because I don't want you to get fired from it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Don't want them throwing their shit at me. Oh, God.
Well, you're going to be one of the monkeys. They've heard the Laxus story. They want you. Yeah.
Exactly.
He's got the part.
And then the same, I suppose. Or actually, did we have anything else as well? Anything coming up as far as live performances go?
Not live.
Just
live.
Keep a little eye out on the socials for anything that does come up as well in that case then. And then for myself, Seb Muirhead on Instagram and YouTube. Won't be forgetting that pod across all the socials as well. If you did like the show, 5 stars, tell a friend, subscribe, all the usual kind of stuff. Patreon as well, patreon.com / won't be forgetting that pod. I do have a kids show that I'm doing in Adelaide for the Glenelg Winter Festival as well. So probably a little bit of a commute for you two. It's from the 8th to the 14th of, I don't know why I'm asking you like you'd know, of July. This will be in the show notes.
Excuse to get out of the house.
Yeah, honestly, I had away from Melbourne in the winter, to be honest with you.
I was going to say.
But yeah, if you've got kids, bring it down. It's all about dinosaurs. I mean, it's amazing that, throughout time, kids always love dinosaurs.
I love dinosaurs.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So it's a real dream job for me, I'll be honest.
That's awesome.
Oh, paid work. It's a real dream job.
Winner.
And then I've got a film coming out in the movies later this year as well, Ancestry Road. So the trailer for that will be coming out. Oh, sorry, the trailer for that is out. So give that a watch. I'll be in cinemas. I'll let you know when.
Fun.
But yes, thank you all three so much again for coming on.
Seb, that was awesome. How fun. Did you like that, Winnie? Your first podcast. Good girl.
Oh, we got a couple of little deep breaths in there. Perfect.